Welcome. This episode of My Veterans Benefits. Today we're talking about survivors benefits, right? These are the benefits for the veterans family. We want to make sure our survivors can survive, right, as veterans. So we're going to pass along some information today that can help out families. I've seen personally, many families didn't have this information, and a process that could have taken them, they could have closed it out in a week, ends up taking them weeks and months, right? Putting a lot of additional stress on a family at an already stressful time, right? So for me, I always thought, like, if the veteran could have given them the information beforehand, they would have. So that's kind of why we're making this video, just to pass along simple, helpful information. Now, as always, come on now, at the end of this video, you'll understand the medical coverage, you'll understand the monthly compensation, and you'll understand the education benefits. Right? You also understand what makes a veteran's death service connected. That's the key to all of it. Service connected unlocks a total different level of benefit. Let's get right into it though. Straight out of the gates, most important thing in this whole process is the death certificate. On the death certificate, you'll see a section for cause of death, and there'll also be a section for contributing factors. Right? Both of these sections matter, because that's what determines the information in those sections is what determines whether or not the death is service connected. Right? So when you talk about a veteran's passing and those survivors benefits, there's three types of benefits. Monthly compensation for the rest of the survivor's life in some cases, medical coverage, and education benefits. All right, first we'll talk about the monthly compensation. In this situation, if the veteran's death is service connected, that monthly compensation will be over $2,000 a month for the rest of the survivor's life in some cases. If the death is not service connected, the monthly benefit is then $975 a month, and it's income restricted. Meaning, if you make over $975, you're not eligible. If you make $900, the VA will give you the other $75, right? That's what income restricted means. So in this monthly compensation, the big difference between the two benefits, if it's service connected, over $2,000. Not service connected, $975. So now you may be saying, what makes a death service connected? All it means, again, is on that death certificate, a service connected condition is listed there, right? Or the bodily system that a service connected condition is in, because it may not spell it out, right? We got to keep that in mind as well. But that's the difference when we talk about the monthly compensation of survivors benefits. If it's service connected, there's one amount. If it's not service connected, there's another amount, right? And another form of compensation is a one-time payment that you would get. The burial assistance, right? The burial assistance payment is $2,500 if it's service connected, if the death is service connected. If that passing is not service connected, that benefit is $750, right? Again, difference in the benefits based on whether or not the passing is service connected. And what does it mean to be service connected? That means one of the service connected conditions or the result of one of those conditions is listed on the death certificate as a cause of death or a contributing factor. All right. And when we go to the medical coverage, it's the same thing. Again, three types of benefits: compensation, medical coverage, education benefits for survivors. On the medical coverage side, it's pretty straightforward. If the death is service connected, they're entitled to CHAMP VA medical coverage. If the death is not service connected, they're not entitled to medical coverage, right? For the education benefits, same thing. If the passing is service connected, they're entitled to Chapter 35 education benefits. If the passing is not service connected, then the survivors are not entitled to education benefit. Pretty straightforward. But again, the most important thing is whether or not the passing is service connected. Again, we want to make sure, or we want to help to make sure our survivors can survive. With these benefits, they'll get money, health coverage, and potential to make more money with the education benefits, right? So we want to make sure that our folks have this information. And the most important document in this whole process, again, death certificate. So now the question is, can I get it updated? Let's say after the fact. Let's say this has already happened in my life and now I'm watching this video like, oh man, I didn't even know, he or she was service connected. Can you go back and get the death certificate amended? Of course. I've seen it done many times. People just don't know that you can do it. When you think about it, though, it's not as crazy as it sounds, because the doctor is normally not going to write everything down that contributed to that person's passing, unless you go back and ask them to, right? If it's a situation, let's say the veteran had hypertension and they passed from a heart condition, cardiovascular event, whatever the case, that is service connected. Hypertension is connected to the heart, right? Same with COPD. Somebody got COPD or asthma or sinusitis, and they die from a respiratory condition. Respiratory conditions are respiratory conditions. That makes the death service connected. And if the death is service connected, now the survivor is entitled to monthly compensation for the rest of their life in some cases, medical coverage, and education benefits. But you got to know the information though, right? You want to, again, the most important thing in this whole process is the death certificate. That will tell you whether or not the passing was service connected. Can you get it updated? Yes. The attending physician's name is on there, right? So yes, you can get it updated to add additional conditions that contributed to the passing of that veteran. But if you don't know, you don't know, right? Again, we're trying to give you this information so you can go in and get those benefits that you're entitled to, right? Information, knowledge is power out here. And we just giving out power. That's all we're doing. But hey, learn the information. Talk to me. Use the information. Talk to me. And if you deem it to be valuable, don't be selfish, yo. Each one teach one. That's what we do. Come on now. Share the information. Enjoy your day, man.